Let me introduce y'all to this YouTube family, showing us the way to get out of debt gradually. My man Josh, he's the king of the household. Wife Christine putting debt in the chokehold. And the kids, they are Grace and Zoe, all four together living life so holy. That Kickin Sunday, daily vlogging. Dave Ramsey plan gonna have us live large, and every day we'll see part of their lifestyle. How they budget and they keep things wrote down. See them work through the envelope system. Credit card goes and the money goes with them. You will see how the family strives, cutting debt like a knife and still have a life, Daily vlog show us how to have fun. When you hear this song, let me hear you say debt is done. Debt is done, debt is done, debt is done. Let me hear you say it louder. Debt is done.
Welcome to Dun Dun Dun.
What's up? Debt Kickin Sunday, baby!
Yay! Woo, woo.
We could have gone without that, though.
And it might be the last Debt Kicking Sunday that will be pregnant. I'm having contractions like crazy, you guys.
As we
might
speak.
Get to witness some of them because they hurt.
What a treat.
So that's a treat, yeah. Here's the belly. Here's the baby. Anyway, we're close.
Let's get to it, lady.
Okay, so first question. We have a lot of questions from you guys that we want to answer. Okay, my husband always wants to buy something. One day he wants a $60 game for his PlayStation, and the next day he wants to buy a play toy, also known as a four-wheeler, Jeep, old sports car, and it drives me crazy. Nuts. Drives her nuts. For some reason, he thinks when we get our tax returns, he should get some of that money to blow. We agree on using it to pay off my car, since we will owe under $2,000 on it and pay off the rest of our debt. How do you convince someone that they don't need to buy something just because they want it? And then she says, I notice that I'm short of breath. People, hang with me. Whew. I notice that whenever my husband hangs around certain people he works with, that's usually when he wants to buy something because they have it. Honestly, it does not work to tell him not to buy something because we don't have the money. It just turns into a big argument. Did you guys ever deal with this in the past? And if so, how did you deal with it?
Oof. Ouch. That's heavy. That's heavy.
Have we dealt with it?
Absolutely.
Like, we're human, and I think that if you are human...
This is free advice, remember. There might be a little tough love coming right here. Just giving you one. Are you going to make that? Tough love, okay, people? We all love you, but in our walk, if we had someone there that gave it to us straight between the eyes, we would have loved them even more.
Yeah,
so,
you gotta have people like that in our lives. And we believe that we are those people for some of you. So, okay.
So yes, we've been there. Yes, we've been in that same situation. Yes, we've done the same things that he's done. And were some of the things wrong? Yes.
Mm-hmm. Wait, how do you convince someone that they don't need to buy something just because they want it? In a nutshell, basically.
In a nutshell, I would say you need to ask them what their priorities are. What's the most important thing? If they say it's a Jeep or they say it's a $60 game, then that's just say, honey, okay, love you a long time, but maybe you need to put an envelope together and sync fund it, and I'll give you $5 or I'll give you $10 a payday, and when that's full and ready and you hit your goal, go get your game.
Yeah.
Go get your Jeep.
And that's really effective because you're not telling him no. Like, the budgeting is a team effort. It takes, not one person is running this whole ship.
I mean, I have something I finally decided I want. We've been at this for like 4 years, and here like a month ago I finally asked her, I'm like, can I start having some money every month because there's something I want? And it's like $1,200, and I figured it's going to take me 14 months to get it.
But I didn't tell him no.
Back in the day, we would have just gone out and bought it. Mm-hmm. But then it would have been like, ooh, why'd we do that? So, I decided this is what I thought I deserved every month, an X amount of dollars per month, and so I divided it up, and it ended up being 14 months. Mm-hmm. So in 14 months, I'll be able to go pay cash for it and get it, and I'll be just as happy.
Yes, it also comes down to your priorities. Wives, I know how you feel because I was that wife for 2 years before he came around, and I'll never forget that feeling because you don't know if your marriage is going to survive. You don't know if you're going to be okay. You don't know if you're going to have enough money for bills. You just don't know. And a lot of prayer. If you don't know God, now's a good time to find God, to have a relationship with Him. And really, until that switch goes off in their head, or your wife's head, if this is a, the roles are switched, you can't do much of anything because they're not going to listen to you.
On the friend front, we had friends like that. We wanted to be like them, so we bought everything that they bought.
Right.
And we were in debt up to our eyeballs because we bought everything they bought. My assumption is they were in debt too, but neither one of us wanted to admit it, I would assume, and neither one of us wanted to show it. But behind closed doors, it was freaking miserable.
Yeah, and we almost lost our marriage over
So, looking back, hindsight, it's always clear afterwards, but
yeah.
we got rid of those friends. I mean, we didn't get rid of them. We parted ways. We went our separate directions because we saw what it was doing to our life. We saw where we were going with it, and it just wasn't working out. So we decided to change our lifestyle, and it just...
We parted ways.
Parted ways.
And sometimes that happens. But that rolls into your second part of your question about your husband being influenced around the people. You have to do a really good job at picking healthy people for you. Healthy people for your kids, role models. For us, a lot of our friends and have Christian backgrounds because we know we have that in common, and it's just so much easier. It's not about who has the biggest truck or the most toys, or it's how is your walk with God? How is your marriage? How are your kids? And there are our number one support system we run to every single time is someone from our church. Every single time. Because it doesn't matter. You're not in a contest with them. And ever since we made that change of who we surrounded ourselves with and looked and said, hey, I don't like how I feel around these people, because you can see in your own relationship the negative impact it has. I mean, you guys know. You're around certain people, just like this person, and it doesn't have a good impact. It doesn't make you feel good.
Like those
you
people.
start acting, and it makes you do things that you wouldn't normally do or think. And you kind of just, I don't know, sit down with a pad, I mean, if you have to, a pencil and a piece of paper, and say, this is, I mean, it sounds terrible, but there's just some people you have to cut from your life. And if you're related to them, good job. I mean, good luck. Because
that's hard sometimes.
You can't just cross the name off the list. Because God made you family for a reason. So that's a little more of a sensitive subject, and one that we are always working on. So we are not good experts in that area. But draw boundaries. Draw boundaries. You can do that with people you're related to. You can do it with the friends you surround yourself with. And if you're not happy with who you're surrounding yourself with, or you're noticing that something's different between you and them, change. Go to church. There are fantastic people in church. I don't care what denomination you are or how you practice religion. Those people, for us, have the strongest influence in our lives. It's just the way it is. People who have been in the faith for 50 years, we have a ton that we can learn from them. A whole lot more than who has the bigger truck, who has the most toys, who has this, who has that, what vacation you took.
Not saying you can't have the big truck and the nice toys. You just need to save for it, pay for it.
Right.
But
it's
not
the quality.
kissy face with the bank to get more money.
Yeah. It's the quality of people who you surround yourself with. So I hope we helped answer this question. With you and your husband, there's just a lot of communication that needs to happen. And
sit down and do a budget.
Do a budget. Make sure you're doing a budget.
Get on the same page.
Yeah. And work together. If he wants something, just the same as if you want something, you just save up for it. Break it into easy monthly amounts until you get it.
You say, honey, I'm sure that game's real nice. It's $60. I'll give you $15 a payday. So in 4 paydays, 2 months, that game's yours.
Right.
You never know. After maybe a month, maybe you go, I don't want that anymore.
Yeah.
And
you'll have to find whatever works for you. Different things drive different marriages. it's just different. Like, he has different interests than your husband has. It's just different.
But financially, if you guys can get on the same page, life itself will be much easier.
Yeah.
Everything, because a lot of it revolves around finances.
It does. But look at those who you surround yourself with. Okay. Good questions. I loved it. Okay, so the next question is, how do you stay motivated? We cut back so much, and every time we are almost out of debt, some other big bill comes up, or rent gets raised, or etc. It is so hard, and we haven't even bought any clothes or anything we don't need in at least a year.
How do you stay motivated? We stay on budget. I think the more we stay on budget and the tighter we keep it, you get to put more goals behind you. Like, we have a lot of medical expenses right now with the baby and other things, and the fact that we're able to pay those off so quickly or save for them so when we get the bill they're already paid for, and then you look back and go, hey man, just because we stayed tight on our budget, we stayed tight on our gas, we stayed tight on our utilities or whatever, we were able to pay this big bill and it didn't even affect us. We were just bam, done.
We survived it.
And so you're like, bring on the next thing, I'm gonna stay on my budget, sock my money away, and if nothing comes up, I've just paid myself all this money.
That's
your
motivation.
It's pretty big motivation when you can hammer down huge goals and not be like, wow, we would have stressed out about that before.
Right. Well,
we don't.
And the devil is in the details, you guys. He's always going to try to overthrow you. Always. There will always be something that comes up to derail your plan, to throw you off, to you have to learn to expect the unexpected. Seriously, as cliche as that is,
that's life.
It's going to happen, guaranteed.
No matter how rich you are, the refrigerator's still going to crap out on you, or your car alternator's still going to break or something.
Right.
But that's why you carry an emergency fund. If your rent gets raised for that month unexpectedly, or if your sole of your shoe falls off one Monday morning or whatever, use your emergency fund or whatever to get you caught up in the moment, to get you back, and adjust your budget the next pay period or whatever to get yourself back on track.
Yeah, if you need a coat, if the kids need a coat, if you take it out of your emergency fund or an envelope that you've just put aside for clothing, so that when things like that happen, you have money in there to go shopping.
But just be prepared.
Yeah.
Staying motivated, be prepared. Christmas comes in December. You know what I mean? Prepare for that.
Yeah.
Everyone's a little different.
Yeah. And just keep going, because you will get out of debt completely. You keep knocking down and surviving every one and getting to the next one and surviving that, you'll get there. I promise. You will get there.
And then you get to the other side of it where you're debt free. And you start saving all this money, and then you're just like, well, I could go buy that if I wanted it. And then you look at things different, and you're like, well, I don't want it. I want the money. I want to be able to I want to save the money. You look at purchases way different when you have the money to just go out and buy it.
Yeah.
That's what keeps me motivated, because then I'm like, well, I don't want to spend any money now. I've paid everything off. I like to pay myself.
Mm-hmm. And also, if another way to help with unexpected expenses. Okay, we're running out of time, so we're gonna have to wrap this up. Anyway, that's it for this week, you guys. We will see you next week for another Debt Kicking Sunday. You gotta do your crazy sign off, because I just don't do a very good job.
You might see us, you might not. We might be having a little
Junior.
Number 3. Junior. Right?
That's right.
So, all right, people.
Bye, you guys.